Hello everybody, Andy here again. Well, about a year ago now, very nearly a year, I made a video called Heroes and Heroines, and what I was talking about in that video was talking about my favourite heroines, people that or heroes, and people that inspired me throughout my life, and asking for other people to sort of tell me theirs as well. And I posted my own little response to it, and I should post this video down there as a response to that, response to my own video if you want. And out of the 4 people that were in that particular video, there was only one person who was still alive. Unfortunately, that person has now passed away, and that person being the great Arthur C. Clarke, the sort of famous science fiction writer, visionary, whatever you want to call him. He died this morning over there in Sri Lanka, and at the grand old age of 90. But he is one of those people, apart from being a sort of a hero and an inspiration in my life, one of those people who you can actually say has really changed the way that we view the world and the way that the world is nowadays. Most people will know Arthur C. Clarke probably from the book 2001 The Space Odyssey and the film that he made or came out of that with Stanley Kubrick. He co-wrote the sort of screenplay, and they were very much involved, the two of them together, in making that film and putting it together, and it came out of about 3 different sort of short stories and ideas that Arthur C. Clarke had. That particular film, actually, I think is still standing up today and is still looked on very, very sort of well, I think, and the way that it was edited, we can all remember sort of shots from the film, the music, which was very powerful as well, and it's sort of still looked at, as I said, as a sort of a part of cinematic history and maybe how it changed things. And actually, as a footnote to that, Gene Roddenberry, I think that's how you say his name, the guy who started Star Trek, not a favourite program of mine, I must admit, but he said that if it hadn't been for Arthur C. Clarke and his stories and films like that, he would never ever have made Star Trek, and I know lots of other people have felt the same way. So apart from touching our lives in that way, and all the sort of 100 odd books that he wrote, and I've had a look and I've got about 30 odd, 35, 40 of his books, including that particular biography. But the thing that probably changed most, and possibly not so well known about, was that in 1945, during the Second World War, he was attached to the RAF, did a lot of work in radar, and he saw sort of limitations and things like that of communication, should we say, generally something he was very interested in from an early age. And he came up with the idea of what is now called the Clarke orbit, but which is a geosynchronous orbit. And I'll try not to get too technical, but if you place a satellite up in orbit about 22,400 miles above the surface of the Earth, and you go at the speed that the Earth rotates, and that's the important part, you will actually stay in what they call a geostationary orbit, and you will appear to be in the same place above the Earth at all times. And Arthur C. Clarke worked that out, and what he also discovered was that if you had 3 satellites across the equator in different parts of the world, you could cover the whole globe with just 3 satellites if you put them in that particular orbit. And from that, unfortunately, he didn't patent this idea, because he would have made him billions instead of the good living he got out of writing all his books. But that's what changed the world. If you think about it now, with satellite TV, you watch the TV now and you get satellite broadcasts of sporting events, you know, all the sort of world news that goes on all over the place, all the meteorological data that you get about the weather and everything. I mean, I know that these satellites aren't put to good use sometimes, but we do have different orbits. You know, there's what they call a near-Earth orbit, so as I said, they have to be going at a certain speed, otherwise the gravity of the Earth pulls them away or pulls them towards the Earth. So that's the important bit. But that's, I think, something that's a lasting legacy. And if you could say that you've done something like that, which has literally changed the way that the world is now, and other things that he's done as well. I mean, you may watch 2001 and the HAL, the computer in there, who sort of went a bit mad, I suppose, didn't it, and tried to disrupt the whole mission. If you look at that now and the way that computing's come on now, once again, he was thinking outside the box, shall we say. Even some of the things that were in that film and the way that they use gravity to sort of simulate gravity and that, lots of things came out of him that went into the space race. He was like a consultant, I think, to the way that NASA ran the space race and the Apollo space program, and he commented on it and that as well. So I was actually very lucky to have met him once, and I'll show you the book that I went up to. It's like a book signing, and I was lucky enough he actually signed this, and you might, if you can read this, you probably can't, and it's let's forget it right, it says to Andy from Arthur C. Clarke in there. So that's a sort of a treasured possession of mine. But as I said, a visionary, certainly, someone who will be remembered, sadly missed. I mean, at a great old age, 90, that's not a bad life to lead, I suppose, but his legacy will live on. I should probably start reading all his books again. But Other things that he did, he was actually one of those sort of people who lived in the Chelsea Hotel in New York back in, I think it was about the 50s or 60s, partly when he was doing the 2001 film, so very much in with all that sort of crowd as well in New York. So lived quite an interesting life, as someone like that will do. So but as I said, a great visionary, someone who's left a great legacy apart from the books, all those sort of thoughts, and he was great for predictions and things like that, of things that may well come into the future, come to fore in the future. So some have already have, and I'm sure lots of them will in the future. But anyway, I thought I'd say that quickly. Say a sad death for me. One of my heroes has died, and if you want to watch that particular video, as I said, I'll post it as this one as a response, and maybe we can redo this because not many people got involved last time. Maybe you can tell me who your heroes and heroines are, and next time you turn on the TV, next time you see a satellite broadcast, or you turn on your satellite TV, just think of the man who sort of made that all possible. I'm sure it would have come about in the future, but he was a man who thought about this way back in 1945. Not bad, I think. So from my point of view, Arthur C. Clarke, rest in peace. You deserve it, and thanks for the memories, thanks for all the books, and thanks for all those things that you put into our life that maybe we wouldn't have, and all those things maybe that you've thought about that are going to come in the future. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.